Akademik dan Antarabangsa Universiti Malaysia Sabah. Para hadirin diminta untuk mengambil tempat duduk sebab sebentar sahaja lagi, seperti mana yang dimaklumkan, forum kita akan bermula. Okey, baiklah. Saya mohon izin untuk memulakan majlis. Prof. Dr. Syaril, boleh? Okey. Selamat sejahtera. Salam Malaysia Madani sekali lagi. Dan saya ingin menyampaikan ucapan selamat menyambut Hari Akademia pada hari ini bagi seluruh warga pendidik, khususnya di Universiti Malaysia Sabah. Dan di sini disampaikan dia bagi tahu kekalkan momentum kecemerlangan ke arah visi yang disasarkan menerusi misi strategik Universiti Malaysia Sabah. Baiklah, seperti yang diwar-warkan dalam program kita pada pagi hari ini, didahului dengan Forum Akademia Sustaining the Future of Higher Education, sempena penganjuran Minggu Akademia Universiti Malaysia Sabah 2023. Izinkan saya memperkenalkan barisan moderator dan juga panel forum kita pada pagi hari ini. Ya, moderator daripada Profesor Dr. Vincent Pang, Profesor Kehormat Fakulti Psikologi dan Pendidikan Universiti Malaysia Sabah. Dan panel kita pada pagi hari ini, Prof. Dr. Syaril bin Yusof, Timbalan Naib Chancellor Akademik dan Antarabangsa Universiti Malaysia Sabah. Dan seterusnya, Profesor Madya Dr. Wan Zuhaini Saad daripada Universiti Putra Malaysia, pemenang Anugerah Akademik Negara ke-12. Dengan ini, saya serahkan majlis ini kepada Prof. Dr. Vincent Pang sebagai moderator bagi forum pada pagi hari ini.
Thank you, Puan Shanti. Good morning, deans, directors, deputy deans, deputy directors, head of programs, guests from outside UMS, lecturers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Selamat Hari Akademia to all of us. We all deserve this big day. And if I'm not wrong, I think the person behind Hari Akademia is here. We let her admit it later. We are privileged to have the person who branched out this concept of Hari Akademia here. She's none other than Professor Madya Dr. Wan Zuhaini Saad, former director of Bahagian Kecelamaan Akademik, now back to UPM for her passion in research. For the introduction, in the pursuit of knowledge and excellence, higher education serves as a beacon for enlightenment and progress. For example, it has laid the foundation for societal growth, molding minds, fueling innovation, and paving the way for myriad opportunities. However, in a fast evolving world, higher education is at a crossroads, facing both unparalleled challenges and prospects. Today's forum, themed Sustaining the Future of Higher Education, underscores the urgent need to navigate these significant transformations in the educational realm. Together, we aim to ensure the continued relevance and dynamism of higher education institutions in Malaysia, with a special emphasis in Sabah. Before we proceed, I'd like to introduce the speakers. Professor Shahril Yusof is not a stranger to us. Anyway, a brief introduction of Professor. Prof. Shahril is currently serving as the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic and Internationalization of UMS. Alongside this administrative role, he holds a professorship in orthopedics at the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. In his illustrious career, Prof. Shahril has also shouldered the responsibilities of Deputy VC of Research and Innovation before, and Deputy Dean of Faculty of Medicine at UMS. His rich experience in both administrative and academic spheres significantly contributes to the advancement of medical science education and international collaborations at UMS. Prof. Shahril's commitment to academic excellence and internationalization continues to play a pivotal role in enhancing the reputation and global standing of UMS. Our next speaker is Associate Prof. Dr. Wan Rohanis Saad. She's an Associate Professor in Microbiology in the Faculty of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences, UPM. Her research activities include drug discoveries from thermophilic fungi, microbial enzymes technology in natural fibers, and awarded patents for the research. She has obtained 11 copyrights in areas related to biotechnology and biomolecular sciences. Apart from the science field, she was also awarded various awards in teaching and learning. This includes Creative and Interactive E-Learning Award in International University Carnival on E-Learning, IUCL 2016. Best Trendsetter Award in IOCL in 2017. Winner of Reimagining and Redesigning Higher Education in 2017. And winner of the National Academic Award for Pure Sciences in 2018. As I said, she was the Director of Academic Excellence Division in the Ministry. And she's produced, conceptualized, and produced a big number of concepts which are being implemented now. These include experiential learning and competency-based education landscape, (EXCEL), Service Learning Malaysia, University for Society, SULAM, Future Workforce Engagement Series, Forces, and many more. She also holds various recognized and holds many positions outside the ministry and the university. She's currently adjunct professor for Faculty of Applied Sciences in UCSI, and in the advisory board of UK Malaysia University Consortium. The main feature of this forum will be in the form of Q&A. Before that, I would like both panel members to spend a few minutes enlightening us on this theme, sustaining the future of higher education. We start with Prof. Shahril.
Thank you. Hello. Hello. Can you hear? Hello. 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 Thank you very much Prof. Vincent for the. Let me take us back. I always like to talk about history. Without history, you tend to forget where we are, who we are. All right. If we talk about Malaysia, we don't have Malaysia. We only have Malaysia in 1963. But we talk about state and Federation of Malay, and where Singapore is also located at the time. At the time, Borneo is still under company of British and so on. The first higher education for this region started in somewhere in 1905. And what it is and what it is for. It is to supply the British colony with medical assistant, not even a doctor. The way the British arranged that, the needs for the country is just MA, not doctor. And as the world affect this whole scenario, when the First World War developed, they noticed that they can't afford to send officers right all to their colonies. They have to retain in Europe because of the First World War. And there's a need in this region to have administrator and so on. And then they come up with Raffles College in Singapore to prepare the school leaver to universities and so on. That's how it started. And eventually, before the Second World War started, then they noticed that the demand is there. As the economy grows back after the First World War, and they need more, and they can't afford to bring British down to be officer at all level. The DOs are all British. The Pengarah is all British, but those CC, and they need to use the local. Previously, they tend to bring Ceylonese from India and so on. So what I'm trying to say, historically, it developed in the needs for this country. So the needs for medical assistant, the needs for administrator, and then that developed. In 1949, that's the first university in this region, University Malaya, established in Singapore, merging of these two colleges, Raffles College and this King Edward VII. That's the first. And in Malaysia per se, after the Singapore split from us, we set up our University Malaya in KL. We back up and started from 1962. So today is 2023. The first university that we have is 1963, started in University Malaya. Is it 100 years? Not yet, yeah? Almost. Almost. So, relatively, if you look at where we are now, don't talk about UMS. UMS is only 27 years old. We are very young, comparing to other higher institutions. Relatively, we are still in infancy. And that's the realistic of it. But being in infancy doesn't mean that we cannot become a good institution to supply. And you see the history also of developing the new university in Malaysia is depending on the needs and the direction. And people must understand this. In this country, we have two blueprints for higher education. One is the long-term blueprint, 2007 up until 2020. But if you notice that, before we reach 2020, people have noticed that we're not reaching. Right? They come out with second blueprint, which is lapse towards the end of the first blueprint. 2015, 2025, right? Then why this lab? We not even complete the 2020 yet. We have already introduced, submitted one more blueprint because we notice the changes, the progress is so drastic and so fast. What we think 10 years ago, now may not be relevant. It's very fluid, it's very flexible. Basically, in higher education now, you cannot have, this is my personal opinion, you may not be able to project up until 10 years, because within 10 years is too many things happen. So it must be very short stages of implementation, because changes is very drastic, very fast. Well, that's for start. I pass it to my colleagues, tetamu kehormat kita yang dibawa dari UPM.
Dari UPM singgah Kimanis baru sampai ke sini. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Prof. Syaril Yusof, TNCA, Prof. Vincent Pang, and all the warga UMS. Selamat Hari Akademia, and again thank you very much for having me here in UMS. Always kalau dapat call tu mau of course I will come back. Okay, to echo Prof. Syaril's on the changes, changes and the blueprint that we have been following, and of course before 20 in 2020, the Malaysia Education Blueprint, higher education also have been not revised but reviewed and came up with an action plan, especially after the pandemic. And because of today's Hari, we are celebrating Hari Akademia. I think, as mentioned by Prof. Vincent, also the pivotal role of higher education institutions, and of course the people who are actually, we are the educators, playing a very important role in producing our next generation, the talents, the students, the graduates that we produce, that will determine the sustainability of our future generation. There is one, I think I read somewhere, people saying that, now we are actually borrowing our next generation's time, but we need to be aware that the students, the educators need to be aware that each and every one of us is responsible for our next generation. So this is where we come in, because now we are what we call as 21st century educators. I think I mentioned that many times in many platforms, and as mentioned also by Prof. Syaril, that because of the advancements of technology and the dynamic change that we are the one who's going to make that change. So I think today's forum, we will discuss how are we going to make that change, how are we going to make that transformation for a sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wan. Before I proceed, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Wan for her earlier work in preparing us for academy. Our Anugerah Academy Negara, we have won a few, I think 3. She helped us to set the groundwork and prepare our academia for that. Thanks to you. Okay, let's move on to some Q&A related to this theme. The first question is, how has globalization shaped the challenges and opportunities for Malaysia's higher education institutions? We start with you, Prof. Yep. The difficult questions, she'll answer later.
Hello. Can you repeat the question?
How has globalization shaped the challenges and opportunities for Malaysia's higher education institutions?
Okay, in life, it sounds like PMX bit. In life, we should look things in two ways. If you look at the flag of Korean, similar yin and yang, if I'm not mistaken. In life, there's a positive and negative, and it's best to get a balance. So in any opportunities or any difficulty, there's always positive part of it, and we have to look that way. And we're trying not to think more negative of that particular effect, and take the positive effect of that particular thing. So we can list down all the negative effect of this globalization, and we look at what are the positive effect. I would say that, let me talk about one negative effect that I don't like personally, but I think the current minister also not that happy on that. Ranking, global ranking. To some extent, that when people like to be ranked in terms of ranking, and if we see academic institution from the view of economic platform, in an economic platform, you see the process and input, process and output, these three process, that the framework of economy. And like it or not, academic per se become industry. It's a business, it's a big business. Now when those rankings start to come in, indirectly I felt that it is this type of penjajahan to some extent. And if you notice that nowadays, lately, some of the big universities opted out from the ranking. That's one. But having said negative thing, there's also positive thing about ranking. Positive thing is, if you rank better, people will like to come and be with us, and so on. Like to sign MOU with you. Even we also do that. If you want to accept MOU, one of the paper, what is the rank of the university you want to sign? It must be more top 200 of the country, something like that. So, yeah, you cannot. So these are positive and negative. But having said that, in Japan, for example, there's so many good universities there. Is it ranked? No. So these are the things that we have to carefully look at. Okay, because in the process to get the rank, like it or not, there's a lot of things happen. Publishing, for example, in the true academic world, for example, two spirit of academia, those should be affordable, should be in the spirit of knowledge, but now people are making money. You want to send some journal, you have to pay about $7,000 and so on. So it become an economic platform. It become a burden to us. It become additional burden for us, and the spirit of knowledge to be spread all over the world in a platform of humanities being deprived. So when I look at this, there are always positive and negative effect of it. The positive effect is we live in one world, and we have, I always say that to my colleagues, my lecturers, when I go to the faculty, we look at next to you, we have dark colored, we have fair colored, we have China, we have Melayu, some we have from African continent. Then the place you ask, God, why you created us like this? And then the answer is in the Quran. Answer that, for you to know each other and love each other. So in the perspective of globalization, when we go out from our country, we go out from UMS, we go out from Sabah, to communicate with other colleagues in other country, we like to know them, know their culture, know the way they work. The positive way that we can bring back and tell our lecturer, this we should wait. This is how the Chinese do. This is how Japanese do. And what we do, maybe we think that kita ni kalau dia orang Sabah panggil, rasa kita ni champion bah kan? Kamarudin semalam apa? Champion. Campin. Kita yang rasa kita champion kan. And then when we visited other places and we learn what actually to do this is actually we pick up a positive thing from them and bring back. That's what we know, because economic pressure, we cannot spend too many people to go PhD overseas. But I'm trying to propose to university for those who locally train, not just UMS, in locally university training, the young lecturer, postdoc should be in overseas. Not because to learn much, but just to experience how other people works. The work culture of different. The work culture of Japanese, the work culture of Chinese, the work culture of the European and American are not the same. There are positive that we need to take, there are negative we need to not to do. Okay? Thank you. That's for a start. I pass it to my... Is it the same question?
Yes.
So that's, you see, the second person to answer, or you have already covered everything. So
Okay, give her two questions.
Okay, when you say about ranking, and you said I agree when you say that there are bigger, I mean the big universities that have actually withdrawn from the world ranking. Even recently also they have another 2 universities. But if you look at the universities who withdrew from the rankings are all well known. They have made their place in the world ranking. So and at the same time, we don't have actually, I mean in Malaysia, we don't have actually really a solid data that shows students who, international students who actually choose our institution to pursue their studies is not because of the ranking. So we don't have actually that very solid data. But having said that, maybe we can, use it as a guide to actually to know where we are and how can we improve, and perhaps even through this, globalization that open up more doors of opportunities in terms of the research, in terms of collaboration, students exchange, staff exchange, and as mentioned on the experiences. Although it is a policy where most of the universities saying that, okay, if you want to sign an MOU with international universities, it has to be like the ranking 200, and like in UPM, if we're going to go for sabbatical, it has to be must be in 100 ranking universities. But I also believe that when we sign MOU with there are universities or in outside Malaysia that need our help, that we can work together, learning together with them. So I do believe that is one of the important of the collaborative work internationally, where although these universities are not ranked or in the lower ranking. Again, I also believe that globalization will support our educators and also our students, but at the same time safeguard our local cultures and our local social contacts, to not to be over influenced by the international parties. Thank you, Prof. And again, through globalizations, of course, through the pandemic, all of us know that the world become very small, right? So learning and doing research is now should be more borderless and seamless. So although there are challenges, but I think there will be more opportunities than the challenges. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof. and Dr. Wan. So we can see from their views that most of the issues, the negative issues, are issues related to this phenomena or concept of neoliberalism, which involves free market capitalism, applying industrial standards and practices to education, and therefore lack humanistic and value-based things, which is much more important because that is a software driving education. And that I think we need maybe for the next Hari Academia on something humanistic and value-based education. I think we need our people to be aware of this and not just going with the wave of neoliberalism. Next question. Which challenges are most immediate for our higher education institutions, and what factors might be driving them? Okay, Dr. Wan first.
So that I can answer that you have taken up my point.
This is my personal view, Prof. I think the most pressing challenge in the university is financial sustainability. Of course, we have also technology advancements and political influences. Those are the three that pressing challenges in the universities. Of course, in terms of financial sustainability, the universities need to perhaps to have a more robust financial funding models. Our lecturers, when they didn't get FRGS, they thought they're going to die, for example, right? You know, especially RU, kan? Tu ada yang angguk-angguk tu bersetuju, kan? FRGS and then TRGS and all, right? And if we actually explore, there are many other opportunities of funding, not just from the Ministry of Higher Education, but of course from other ministries. Recognition from the university governance, especially in terms of, I'm saying this because some of the universities, they don't recognize funding that is not from the government. The educators are not being incentivized enough in terms of to get funding. So that is one of the challenges. And when we talk about financial sustainability, since today Hari Academia, we want to highlight the role of educators. And now, educators, it's not only that we have to do the 1001 things, we have to also to look for income generation. Actually, when I asked, when we were discussing about the ranking just now, if you notice the time higher education recently, is still the first, and second was UTP, right? And then it was a coincidence that we had a meeting with UTP that day, and then I was like, oh, congratulations, UTP. And then they were saying, oh, thank you, and then you don't know how hard we work. That's the next statement. And then I was asking what has been, that you have been doing for the past few years, made you to go up on the second. Income generation. That was the main thing, income generation. Especially in contract research, and to get funding from the industries, for example. But that is actually a challenge for a university. Of course, we try very, very hard. In terms of the political influence, I think I let our Prof. Sharil to answer. No, not to answer, to deliberate.
She's trying to play safe when she saw the camera there.
I didn't know it was this.
All right. When I start in it earlier, when we like to discuss higher education, we like to look at two framework. Economic framework, as Prof. Vincent said just now, are we discussing in terms of economic framework, input, process, output? The output is our graduate lah. Process is when they are inside here. Or we like to see from another humanity framework, which we're talking about empathy, integrity, and so on. The values, which one is now important? Which one we want to perceive? We look at our higher institution. But having said this, all the while, we are more towards the economic framework, which leads to numbers of KPI and so on. And to some extent, the qualities in terms of humanities may be affected, compromise, you know. So now, to answer your question, what the pressing one now? I still remember Tan Sri Wan Zahid is the DG of the education before. Tan Sri Wan Zahid, yang bekas mantan ketua pengarah pendidikan Malaysia dulu. And a few of the seniors are called during preparing the blueprint pendidikan tinggi negara. I still remember his word clearly, and I still voice it out to all my academicians. The heart of the university is the curriculum, and we have to maintain this curriculum. So now, when I took up this post as TNC academic, and I don't know whether I'll try to ask UPM about this. In terms of our budgeting, you need to nurture your curriculum, which is your heart. A heart of a car is the engine. The heart of thing need to be maintained. Now, the financial part, which is important for academic nowadays, that we should aware and should put more stress, is to maintain and service the curriculum that we running. Because the stress and demand in ranking and everything have pushed the financial part more toward research. And about this, maybe UMS will propose to our management later is that we need to allocate some money, some budget annually to maintain and service the curriculum. At the moment, financially, we only think about paying your salary, your allowance, your travel and thing. And we know the academic, the curriculum, the education need to be reviewed very fast because the fast growing in outside there. Now, I need to conduct series of workshop to keep improving. I need to retrain because one of the pressing matters in academic world, not just UPM, is the lecturer. The lecturer is the problem, especially those in my series. You disagree with me, Wada? No. I will take slightly long about this. Okay, for those with 5 series and above. Vincent, 6 series, eh? No, we have gone through all the phase of education in Malaysia. You know, last time we learned Tawarikh, ilmu hisab, which some of you don't know. What is that? Ilmu hisab, no? Tawarikh, sejarah, no? Ilmu alam, no? We gone through that phase. And being me in medical, I experienced one more part. All the while, the doctors are taught through traditional curriculum. Traditional curriculum meaning that you learn anatomy, you learn biology, you learn chemistry, I think, in solely. And basically, you have to hafal everything. In the 80s, they changed. They changed to problem-based learning. Who is the most reluctant to change? The lecturer. More than half of the lecturer against the curriculum, against the changes, but carry out. Eventually now, problem-based learning is basically everywhere in the world. Some universities overseas still conducting a traditional, they become an endangered species because nobody do that anymore, you know. So the philosophy behind this problem-based learning is that actually apply and answer what is happening now. Everybody carry a handphone. My good friend here got a handphone and tap with her. Knowledge is at the fingertips. What we want, the student, is ability to think. And like it or not, life is a problem. And you have to be a problem solver yourself, to your family, to yourself, to your institution you work with. That's what a kind of graduate you want. Graduate with critical thinking, some basic knowledge. The knowledge is accessible everywhere. So it changed from my era where kita kena hafal. I still remember Confucius, Alfonso de Albuquerque, and many others that I have to remember during our days, you know. But it's not important anymore. The way trend of memorize and spell it out in an exam is on. And at higher education also the same. The assessment need to change. So, who is the pricing matter? Beside the financial part, that we don't have enough money, allocation to service our curriculum, is human resource itself. Especially those senior, I would say, like me, Prof. Vincent, maybe Prof. Zainal. But not everybody like me. I tend to be open-minded, I listen everything. But realistically, there are seniors who not happy for changes. You know, they want it to conduct the way it is. They've been teaching the last 20 years. So one of the biggest pricing challenge in university, I would say, if we want to make changes, we have to change the mindset of the academician first, to accept a new change and carry out. That's second pricing methods to me. Okay? Even though I am not against all this, I'm become endangered species also. I still don't have my online banking.
Thank you, Prof.
That's
and
another
Dr. Wan.
pricing challenge.
Thank you, Prof. Sharil and Dr. Wan. So we can more or less summarize that the challenges in this category of political influence, funding models used in industry, which apply to education or higher education. Okay. Yeah, okay, proceed. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this one I have to answer safely. No, politically, it's not just the government or the politics. Politically, is understanding and convey and work together with university. Tell us, university, what you want, what's your plan, so that we can trying to tune up. At the same time, I said, and in life, there's only positive and negative. Sometimes the negative effect is that for me, over the many years in university, is the direction is changed too early. You know, we just started from there, and then suddenly there's a shift and ask us to, and that is one of the challenges that we have. You know, your direction is changed, the set is changed too fast. You know, belum habis lagi, belum access lagi dah, we are asked to do something as a new thing. I think that's the biggest pressure for us as administrator in higher education.
Also, I would like to add that there is another dimension of politics, which is international politics. When we talk about ranking, it's actually it's a dimension of international politics. So if we think that we are victims, we are actually victims of international politics. Also, Prof. Shahril covered on mindset change, which is maybe true for most people, but for people like Dr. Wan, I don't quite agree with this statement on her because she has the engine of 30 years old, 40 years old as far as teaching and learning is concerned. I will mention your age. Oh, 5 series, okay. She says 5 series. But with a 20-year-old engine. Let's move on to the next. Next is related to the previous question. The question is, what strategies can be employed to cater to the changing needs of the 21st century students? Prof?
As I said just now, no, we have discussed about change the mindset of the lecturer, and we are aware of the mindset of the student. And we can discuss in the economic framework and from humanity framework. Now, I still remember if we look back at those days, I'm not sure whether they changed now, PLO, CLO, you know. You notice towards the end, when you state the statement, at the end, in medical, I don't know about the other faculty, I still remember medical one because I used to do that, you know, before. At the end of the posting, the student should have at least some basic knowledge of this, basic knowledge of that. So, now, when discussed at the undergraduate level, are we producing specialists who can get out straight away to work? The answer is no. And at the same time now, the knowledge, as I said, is at the fingertip. So the way we should train our student and to produce our output out there, we're not producing a specialist straight away, ready-made for the industry. No. There's a, for me personally, that's a slightly misconcept about this. Take my word, the only faculty, the only fraternity which really train the student towards the industry is medical. Last time medical have 6 years program, because then the pressure they down it to 5 years, where the last 3 years the student need to go to ward every day, which is basically what is they going to do when they graduate. Even engineering, they don't spend 3 years in industry and so on. The student need to go to ward. By right, when they graduate and we give them ijazah, doctor perubatan, they should be able to perform as a doctor, because they spend 5 years, and on top of that 3 years in the industry where they are going to work later. Is that happen? The answer is no. My time, the housemanship is only 1 year. Nowadays, extend to 2 years for sub-specialty training. There's so many development of the, meaning that even though they spend 3 years in the industry, which is the hospital, the doctors still need to spend 2 more years to get their license. When they're houseman, they're temporary license only. To get a full license, they need to complete the housemanship 2 years. So meaning they study 5 years, 2 more years to get the license. So what we want actually, in terms of general, we want, if I'm an interviewer, if I'm CEO on one agency and I interview, if I have all my candidates interview that day, all dean's list, 4 flat, 4 pelajar yang datang jumpa saya ni adalah anugerah pelajar diraja. Okay? And I have one post to give. Who should you, what character you want, what you want to choose. And this is happening everywhere. It's not really the result of the student. And that's what the importance of looking at higher education in a humanity framework rather than economic. At the end of the day, I want someone who can communicate well with me. The body language, explain, tell me, this is a very polite person. The way they dress, the way they address, the way they communicate, the way they express their feeling, show some kind of maturity. I mean, if I throw a question, a kind of problem to solve, and he can explore and answer the problem like it is in the real world, you know, rather than jawab soalan skema orang kata. Saya selalu ni dapat soalan skema tu. Mengapa nak buat perubatan? Saya sejak dalam kandungan lagi nak jadi doktor. Okay? That kind of schema answer for interview is no more valid. We accept the moment, the body language and so on, we know who you are. So, when we draw a strategy, we have to be careful. Are we looking at the framework of economic? At the end, we don't care. He can be an expert, full-fledged, champion in certain thing, or we want the values, other values to be included in our curriculum, in our strategy. At the end of the day, when the AI, kan kita sekarang AI berapa? Industrial Revolution berapa? 4. Ada separuh kata nak 5 dah kan? Soon in AI. Okay, what they predict, this Industrial Revolution matters the whole world. You have start seeing things happening now. You know, you go to the bank, you only see wall nowadays and machine. You go to airport, sometimes I have to help the Inan daripada Mangandai nak pergi Asia, pergi Johor, tengok anak, don't know how to check in. This thing happening, industrial revolution. So at the end of the day, I ask you, what will be more important? What will be people want to come to university and learn? Maybe some of you say that they would like to go to computer, study computer, programming, engineering. They predict that no. They predict that in the future, the area will be more taken up is those cannot be replaced by robot, by computer, such as some services, in particular, music, arts, will be coming up, become more in demand in the future, rather than more technical things. That is expected in the future. More towards arts, humanities, which cannot be changed by robot. So, considering your question, Prof. Vincent, when we want to draw a strategy, we have to first choose which framework we want to look at. If we want to look at the framework of economy, where we only care about the input, output at the end, then we are willing to accept the outcome, the products that may be compromised in terms of humanity. But if you want to look at a humanity framework, then you need to plan something that the output is a person with a good for the humanity, for the world, and so on. So this is the way I look at it. How to answer perfectly? No. But I like to see how we want the strategy to be planned with. We are not factory. That's the bottom line.
I think Prof. Sharil has covered the in terms of the skills, the trends, and how we evolve. The adopting the evolving of 21st century through experiences, experiential learning. Now, when we introduced Service Learning Malaysia University for Society Sulam at that time. After it was launched and universities started to do this service learning, and then I had an engagement with the group of medical lecturers, medical educators, and then they explain and they describe about what they do in their curriculum in terms of the service learning, especially in the CFCS. And as mentioned by Prof. Syaril just now, at that time I was saying every curriculum also must follow the medical curriculum. That was the idea, you know, on how the experiences that should be provided to our learners, our students. Students should be given that opportunity to experience from day one. And these 21st century students, Gen Z students, they are evolved in electronically environment with the social media and all the devices and all the gadget. And if you look at the World Economic Forum Future Jobs Reports 2023, 2020 there was one, the report showed that analytical thinking and problem solving, that was the first. Now the 2023 Future Job Reports is creative thinking. Number one is creative thinking. So, of course, just now we should also emphasize on the digital skills and other communication skill, but socio-economic skill also is very important, and value infused because of all this disruptive technology, you know, AI, generative AI technology advancement, value infused, value driven education should be emphasized. And the moving forward, as again as the 21st century educator, we need to ensure that our learning experiences for our students to be more inclusive, and it is very important that we need to ensure that our learners know their responsibility with the skill to make informed decision for the future. So how do we adapt to this? Again, as program owner, we are the one who's responsible. So program owner means we need to revamp or revise our curriculum, because we are the one who develop the program. We are the one who teach, who maintain and service the program. So when the framework of experiential learning and competency-based education landscape was developed, or what we call Excel, from that framework we had identified the 4 thrusts, which is the research, industry, community, and also personalized learning. So those are and then the main skill set for each of the trusts has also been identified. So I think moving forward, you know, in revising curriculum, these elements can be considered, and it can be embedded in the curriculum itself. Because the most important thing is we want our students to have that experience by design and not by chance.
Thank you, Prof. and Doctor. So, Prof. Syaril emphasized on the selection of framework for strategies, because the strategy depends on which framework we are going to apply on. And Dr. Wan emphasizes on value-based education, digital skills, inclusivity, and others. Next question is also related, and some already answered by the panels. Maybe you have something to add. The question is, how can tertiary institutions refine their curricula to resonate with the demands of both local and international industries, ensuring graduates are both high quality and ready for the workforce?
Future workforce talent. Okay, I think this one is like a very popular topics in many platforms, especially with the industries. And the industry will tell us, your students, you produce zombies. You produce zombies. Your students will do not have this skill set, do not have this talent. We need to train them again and again. So I think Malaysia is very, not just, generally we have lots of this framework and guidelines, but our challenge is the implementation, monitoring and reporting, evaluating. So for the future workforce, we have many guidelines and framework that models that can be followed. But at the same time, I do believe that the industry and the universities must work together. The industry also must be involved, not just as the host or those to receive our student for internship, perhaps. Not just that, but they need to be involved more than just receiving our students for internship, but they must involve in co-developing the program, co-own the program. Because, you see, for example, when we have the 2U2I or 3U1I, 1 year in the industry model, how many universities, how many programs that are able to do that? How many industries can commit to accept our students and to train our students for 2 years? And yesterday, during the Sambutan Hari Akademia in KPT, launched the guideline for the apprenticeship program, right? So the apprenticeship program also part of our Excel framework, and that guideline is more detailed, and together with a pilot program that going to start this October with UTHM. Apprenticeship program where the minimum percentage of the students in the industry is 70%. So 3 years program, only 6 months in the university, 2.5 years in the industries. But how many industries are willing to make that commitment? But then, that is what we say, that is what we call as immersive industrial experience. So when we want to prepare our students to be ready, to be industry ready for the workforce, they need to be trained during their studies and not to be upskilled and reskilled after they graduate. The experiences should be provided during their 4 years or 3 years in the universities. So meaning that we are the one, come back to us, come back to square one, which is actually us as program owner, as educator, how we design it. So that's why we should call ourselves as learning designers, as the 21st century learning designers. How we design our experience, our students' experiences, and how we can add value to the degree, perhaps through professional certification or industry recognized certification, through structured internship program, and not just the internship at the end of the studies. So there are many options, many alternatives, or many ways for the students to have that industrial experience, so that they are being trained to be ready for the industry. But at the same time, Ni macam panas lah cerita pasal industri ni kan. But at the same time, the industry also must be able to tell us, what do you want? Are you ready for our students? If you say you want to have a cybersecurity specialist, you know, in 5 years' time, how many cybersecurity specialists that you need? Tell us, you know, something like that. So we need to work together with the industry, so that and the the responsibility for us to produce that talent is not just from the university itself. It has to be from together with the industry.
I just want to add a bit from what Prof. Wan said just now. We take Malaysia, for example. The only university who able to do this is, I think, not even UTP, I think, is HiCom University. It started based by the industry, the automobile industry, the RB HiCom University. So their focus, the student can park in the industry that they belong to, their groups, and tailor to the industries. A good model for me is the RB HiCom University. In Korea, in China, there's some kind of setup of this kind of university. It's set up by the environment. For example, they want to have a marine engineering kind of university. The company industries related to is surrounding the university. They design where is the industry, then only they park the university there, focusing to supply that, so that the student can spend more time, for example, their classes in the morning, then they walk out maybe and work and be apprentice at the industry. That is the model ready. But when we talk about this ready for job industry, we must look at other. We are so diverse. When we discuss that, more towards engineering, more towards computing, more towards this technical thing, but we're not talking about other areas. I give you example in Switzerland. Switzerland is famous for the tourism and so on. I visited one, they call it First Hotel School. It is actually a university, but the university is set up by consortium of whole hotel in Switzerland. The teacher is also part involved in the training, Prof. So that the industry will tell the faculty how to train the student, and the student can be posted to various hotels as a training ground. That's another good concept of, especially related to UMS. We have the program for hotel and so on, and we should sign up with all the hotel in KK as our training ground and invite them as our lecturer. That's one way we look at it. But in other areas, we need to look that at the end, we cannot really ready-made the student for industry. We're trying our best, but I still believe that the one that change in the future is that we always forget to look on preparing the student to be a human. Nowadays, the Z generation, as you said, they stuck with the phone. You need someone who able to deal, even if they graduate from sejarah or alam, geography or whatever. They can be administrator in the government office and so on. Okay, even my medical student, I told them, I'm not just training you to pass the exam and become doctor, but I want you to be a thinking doctor. I give you one example. Some doctors just don't care where the patient come from. Some of you don't know where's Magandai. Magandai is my second home. It takes you, can be from 7 hours or up to 12 hours or 24 hours to reach the kampung, depending on the road situation. One doctor who don't use her brain or his brain and don't have empathy, who don't care what's my patient problem, will simply say, Pakcik datang review balik 1 minggu, saya nak buka jahit. Okay? He don't know the background of his patient. no money, too far, no road, and then give the old man. You know how much the transportation from Kota Marudu to Mangandai for a person? 300 ringgit, taxi hutan. This young doctor who discharged this patient don't care. Pakcik 1 minggu datang atau 2 minggu datang nak sambung ubat. So you need a person, not just doctor, maybe pegawai immigration, pendaftaran. There are people out there who become autopilot, you know. Itu dah undang-undang, pakcik ikut saja. There's no consideration. If you're not careful, we are producing this kind of workforce in the future. So if he's a good doctor, he will say that Mangandai is too far. Neman pakcik pergi ambil ubat sambung di Kota Marudu Hospital. Pakcik pergi dekat, saya tulis surat dekat Kota Marudu Hospital. Saya bagi nombor telefon saya, apa-apa telefon saya. Nanti suruh doktor tu ambil gambar, hantar kepada saya. The wound okay, and then discharge. How easy is it? Now, you have accounted your problem going to counters in various government agencies. Are they work? That's one. That's what. For instance, I'm always a different species, and I always see things differently. And at the end of the day, I look at the higher education from a framework of humanity rather than the economic framework. Because at the end of the day, we are human. We are dealing with human. We are trying to solve a human problem. So that's it. I may not be, even though I'm a doctor, but I always see things differently into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Sharil. Prof. Sharil highlighted a very important point, which is, in our layman's language, is called common sense. But common sense is no more common these days. That is the problem we face. Common sense is no more common. And before that, both panel members stressed on university-industry collaboration for curriculum design and delivery. And also, Dr. Wan gave a very special emphasis on work-ready students. My analogy is very simple. When we bought a car before, like 40 years ago, the car comes without aircon, so you kena pasang aircon sendiri, kena buat tin sendiri, banyak benda buat sendiri. After you buy the car, this is not the kind of students the industry wants. Today, if you see the newer cars, they come with tinted glass, they come with webcam. So when you get the car from outside, that's all. A car usable for you, ready for use. So for work-ready students, this is the kind of students that the industry wants. No more additional training, no more certification, and so on. We have a few more to cover. Next question is also related to the previous question. Which cutting-edge teaching and learning methods can educational institutions adopt to navigate the shifting educational terrain? Siapa mau dulu? Okay.
I feel like I'm sitting my final part Viva, you know? Waiting for the bell to ring. Can you repeat the question?
Which cutting-edge teaching and learning methods can we use to navigate the change?
Okay. As I said, the things change over time. And technology come in and the pressure from the outside. Now we're dealing with the Z generation. I always call, mine is generation TV hitam putih. When we were born, we have only TV black and white. When you switch on the TV, you wait 5 minutes. From white point in the center, slowly come out. Then we have TV color in 80s, early 80s. I still remember one Zaleha. Who's the news guy? Huh? And one more. Ya, TV3 dulu yang those Yeah. And then, when I start working in Queen Elizabeth Hospital, there's no handphone. Those days got no handphone, you have only pager. Now, handphone and iPad. Who imagined that one day there's no more taxi in town? It's all taken up by Grabs. Or hailing thing. Who imagined in your life, for those 5 series have seen this, for you guys, young one maybe is something, it's still, but for us, we never imagined that we can buy food. Order roti telur bawang satu ni, and a few minutes later the motor come back. Things change rapidly, and the generation that we produce now are more towards this. So in order to answer to you, what kind of strategy, what kind of thing, like it or not, we have to follow what's going on now. And there's a positive effect of this. How? As I said, knowledge at the fingertips. So the time that we spend for 3 years here, in terms of traditional classes, can be cut down. We train them more of problem solving, critical thinking, and what happened to the extra time we have? That's the time we add in the humanity kind of implementation into the curriculum. That's how we should do. They may have classes online, and to do all this kind of thing, like it or not, one of the area is MQA. Need to some have flexibility and allowing us to be more flexible to carry out the program. Otherwise, we become one single ruler, everything follow. But I understand from looking back at the perspective of MKA, do you know that we have 20 IPTA, we have about 70 over private university, private college university, and so on to more. For us, population of 30 million, this is one of the biggest ratio. Guess how many medical school program is there in Malaysia? It's about 30 something. For a small country, Malaysia, we have 30 over 32. 32 colleges offering MD or MBBS for a population of 30 million. So big. So these are the things that we have to look. Semua yang lama tak semua tak baik. Alright? And I always say this. One of the strategy is to retain the senior. Pepatah Melayu ada kata, lagi tua lagi banyak minyak dia kan. So we have to retain Prof Vincent and Prof Zainal, me, because the senior you are, like it or not, nobody teach you how to teach, right? We are not like IPG. I never been trained in Intan to be administrator, but I learned along the way. And gain the experience. So we fail to follow Singapore. I always say this. I will say this because in Singapore, they retain the senior professors. And the KPI for the senior professor is not to conduct research, too much of research or publication. The senior professor are required to teach the first year. Do you know that? In NUS, you come back with your PhD, the first 5 years you cannot see the first year student. You keep your momentum in doing research, you take some classes, small classes, but you're not allowed to take because for them, if the senior need to impart the wisdom, make them happy, make them appreciate the knowledge, the thing. Where else Malaysia do the other way around? Prof Vincent, to continue his contract, he need to publish 5 Q1 paper. Otherwise, he's not going to continue. For me, if province want to continue, he take 5 classes in the first year, another thing. That's the way I look at it. We always fail to take the positive practice in our near neighbor, which is Singapore. Nanyang did the same thing. I talked to Nanyang, Singapore, VC before president. He also said the same thing. During Zaini time, I went down. So, now, I'm a rare species. And you know me, the way I look differently. And one way thing is that for academician, ideas is very important because the idea of creativity will come in. To be creative is important. Creative, you need to speak up your mind. You disagree with me, and we agree to disagree. And then we can develop something that university need to change, you know. Avoid yes boss. That will make us, if you disagree, and we need to allow creative thinking. We need to allow new ideas, because the new ideas is the one who will move us forward. Suppressing thoughts, suppressing ideas, you know, will make us like on autopilot. You can put anybody become VC, you can put anybody become TNC. You just follow the thing. Will the university shut down? No, it still carry out. It become autopilot. Are you going to progress? The answer is no. So in order to do this, as a university, creativity, ideas, thinking should be allowed, should be challenged, and allowed us to progress. That's my opinion. That's my last word. No more question, right?
Yes, some more.
Hey, what time is the Prasmian?
Prof. Syaril said he's a rare species, right? I think the word rare, for me, I use the word unusual. So I have this WhatsApp group with my students, unusual, the all unusual BMY. That WhatsApp group, the students from like 10 years ago, they are still in the group from first year until final year. They are still in the group, and none of them has left. Still there. Sekarang dah beranak pinak. The unusual, because I keep telling my students, you have to be unusual. Unusual microbiology student until where, you know, when they go to other courses and they do a presentation, for example, and then I get a message, oh, this must be your students. Sampai they kenal, because they are unusual. Every year, UPM graduating, during convocation, we graduated, we have about 6,000 students, for example, right? So 6,000 degree students. So how unusual are you compared to all the 5,999? So if the questions just now about the cutting edge of teaching and learning method, what are the teaching and learning method that you're using now? What is the pedagogical approach? We want to just Prof. Syaril highlighted on the creativity. Give them opportunity to unleash their creative potential, and that's not going to happen from your 99 slides of lecture. It has to be through lecture by questioning, active learning, personalized learning. There are so many types of learning. Project-based learning, experiential learning, which I think I myself have given many workshops here also in UMS, for example, right? And again, come back to the Future of Jobs report by World Economic Forum this year. Number 6, the skills at number 6 is systems thinking. That is not even in the list before. Yeah, system thinkings. And system thinking is the ability of the students to be able to connect, to recognize and understand the interconnectedness of a system, for them to be able to analyze and solve problem. So that is actually the first key competencies for sustainability under UNESCO SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. Key competency, which is system thinking. So if you ask me what would be the cutting edge approach, is to how we instill this skill set, this system thinking in our teaching and learning. But then, come back to where we are now. We are talking about creativity, problem solving, and creative thinking. Then the pedagogical approach, it has to be different. It has to be non-conventional. It has to be project-based learning, problem-based learning. Not just for that particular lecture, but every lecture. So, again, students need to be provided with that opportunity. So it is our job to provide that. And it has to be also a platform for them to reflect, to do a lot of this reflection, so that both us, student and us can improve on our approaches. So, and one more important thing is we need to understand the Gen Z characteristic. And it's not easy to work with Gen Z. They lack of soft skills. They lack, hi Dr. Rachel. They lack of soft skills. But they are very confident. They are very confident. They multitasker. They do a lot of things, at the same time. But it is for us to guide them, to facilitate them on how to use devices, on how to manage the overload of data, for example, because those are all the things that they can get it from the internet, from the web. And it is also very important that we become the co-learners. Co-learners, because they are, all these tech savvy and they are better than us, but we want to be able to learn with them, together with them. Okay, so I think understanding the Gen Z and for us to work together with them is, and non-conventional approach will be the to be emphasized in our teaching and learning method.
Thank you, panel members, for the insights into cutting-edge teaching and learning methods, which include understanding learners' 21st century learning skills, humanistic values, and so on. We have actually 2 more questions, but we can, most of these 2 questions have been covered by the 2 panel members. Maybe very quickly, if you have any more things to add, you have covered some of them in the earlier questions. Policies, benchmarks, practices, which we can consider to tackle sustainability issues in higher education.
Just after discussing this now, I forgot to mention one thing. In terms of readiness of our graduate, we forgot to take the consideration of culture, which at the end of the day provide us the input. I believe the culture have partly involved in the outcome. We are Malays, and we have some values, and we are not the American kids. The American kids, they sleep separate room with the mother the moment they are baby, you know. And once they reach the high school, some of them goes to college, they go out from their parents' house and so on. So that's culture for them. Whereas we are more kind of family, polite, you know, even the Chinese, the Indians. We are in this part of the world where the culture train us in a way that we should not questioning adults. We not you should carefully voice your opinion and so on. So, like it or not, this kind of culture has some effect on the student that we have. Our student, they can be good in theory. They can score 4 flat or whatever. But put the same student from the state, ask them to talk and reading openly, we will see some kind of differences there. So we have to look at the culture effect on this. We should not put the blame. And what I see is that sometimes university become a scapegoat and blaming everything to university, where the student from standard 1 till form 5, they have a longer time, 5 years, 6 years in primary school, plus 1 year pra, and 5 years in school, that to be trained, that to enter university. Now we have the last 3 years, and most of the burden will put to KPT to mold them back to whatever required, which sometimes is very difficult. The whole thing need to start together. We sit down with the Ministry of Education. I believe they also make some changes. There no more SRP, no LCE, which is I'm happy. That's why I'm a first series can. No, those days are LCE, MCE, you know. So luckily in primary school also there's no more UPS, and so that's a good move. They make some changes because kalau melentur buluh biar dari rebungnya, tapi kalau dah keras ke matu sampai ke universiti baru kau nak band balik. Within the 3 years, it's not easy. I mean, the demand from IPT should be realistic as well. But having said this, somebody have to take blame if something not happen. So usually we are the one who been say that you fail to do this, fail to do that, but not considering that what kind of input that we get to enter university. So we have to be realistic sometimes. Because unnecessary stress, I like to state this, you don't do unnecessary stress to yourself because no point, no good. Stress is not so good. Stress is good. Some stress is good, but too big stress also no point. So please consider that the culture also need to be taken care when we're drawing up your strategy, things, because it's not easy. Culture, you have to deal carefully because it's very sensitive, religious thing and so on. But these are the things happening. All right? Thanks.
Are we summary now?
Yes, more or less.
Okay. So, I think for me right now, I'm actually a strong advocate of education for sustainable development, ESD, education for sustainable development. In essence, education for sustainable development is a lens through which we view, we plan, and implement the educational experiences, enclosing the not just emphasizing on the robust of academic quality, but also highlighting or contributing to the students' experiences and to create the education where students are given emphasize on the knowledge attitude and skill and values for them to make informed decision to shape and navigate the future, for them to be able to shape and navigate the world sustainably, ethically, and inclusively. So by intertwining the principles of education for sustainable development together with the strategical approach, we are preparing our graduates to have that awareness, to have that skills, for them to be able to take charge of their own pathway. We are actually pave the way to a future where I believe that each and every learner is equipped with these skills and values. Thus, education for sustainable development becomes not just a component, but a fundamental pillar in sustaining the future of higher education.
Thank you very much, Prof. Sharil and Dr. Wan, for their insightful sharing on how we can sustain higher education, especially in Malaysia. They have shared with us a wide range of issues, including the driving factors, challenges, opportunities, ecosystem, cultural aspect, and the dimension related to humanistic approach, which is very badly lacking here in Malaysia. We hope that this is not end of this discussion. This to be discussed among our colleagues, to be brought to other discourses, so that we all together contribute towards a better and sustainable higher education for Malaysia and also for Sabah. We do not have much time left because there is an event coming up. So I believe that's all we can cover this morning. I'd like to thank the panel members, Prof. Sharil, Dr. Wan again, for being with us this morning. Also, thank you, each one of you, for having the interest and spending such a long time with us here. I hope that this will be useful for you, for your career, and also for our profession. Congrats to PPKA for organizing this. Yep. And thanks, members of PPKA, for having us here on behalf of panel members. Thank you, everyone.
Baiklah. Terima kasih kepada Profesor Dr. Vincent Pang sebagai moderator bagi Forum Akademia pada hari ini, dan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan kepada Prof. Dr. Sharil Muhammad Yusof dan Profesor Mada Dr. Wan Zohanis yang bersama dengan hadirin sekalian pada hari ini dalam forum ini. Dan seperti mana yang dimaklumkan, dalam kita boleh berhenti rehat sebentar dalam 10 minit sebelum kita teruskan kepada majlis perasmian atau pelancaran untuk Minggu Akademia 2023. Mungkin ada yang mau pergi kasih stretch sikit itu kaki kan, dan ke bilik air sebentar, tapi jangan tinggalkan kami. Kita kembali ke sini. Actually, majlis ketibaan bagi Datuk Naib Chancellor adalah pada pukul 10.55 actually. Tapi jika ada sebarang perubahan, kita akan maklumkan lebih awal. Dan selain daripada itu, di sini pihak PPKM memohon kerjasama daripada para hadirin sekalian untuk mengisi kajian kepuasan pelanggan Pusat Pembangunan dan Kecemerlangan Akademik PPKA tahun 2023. Ya, dan kerjasama amat dihargai. Sila imbas QR code yang disediakan. Okey. kita ambil masa untuk rehat dalam 10 minit begitu. Apa-apa kita akan maklumkan sebentar saja lagi. Okey, terima kasih semua. Kita kembali di sini ya, jangan balik dulu. berdiri bersama bagi nyanyian lagu negaraku dan Sabah tanah airku. Hadirin dimohon duduk. Bagi memohon berkat dan keredaannya ke atas majlis ini, majlis menjemput yang berusaha Encik Rahmat Karim daripada Jabatan Bendahari UMS untuk memimpin bacaan doa. Dengan ini majlis mempersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Allahumma innaka khalaqal azim, innaka samiul alim, innaka ghafurur rahim, innaka rabbil arsyil azim. Ya Allah, Engkaulah yang mempunyai segala kepujian, Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kepujian, Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kesyukuran, Engkaulah yang memiliki segala pemerintahan. Di tangan Engkau segala kebajikan, kepada Engkaulah kembali segala urusan. Allahumma ya Karim ya Rahim, limpahkanlah rahmat dan rahim-Mu ke atas Majlis Pelancaran Minggu Akademia UMS 2023 yang diadakan pada hari ini. Berkatilah majlis ini dari awal hingga akhirnya. Ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram, kami juga memohon perlindungan daripada-Mu dari segala perkara yang boleh mencacat celakan majlis kami, dan daripada segala perkara yang melalaikan kami dari berbuat taat kepadamu. Kepadamu jua kami serah segala urusan kami. Rabbana alaika tawakkalna wa ilaika anbana wa ilaikal masir. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wallahu minkum.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Yang Berusaha Encik Rahmat Kasmin atas bacaan doa sebentar tadi. Majlis mengeluhkan kehadiran yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Muhammad Syaril bin Yusuf, Timbalan Naib Chancellor Akademik dan Antarabangsa Universiti Malaysia Sabah, yang berusaha Dr. Dennis Andrew De Lajuim, Pengarah PPKA Universiti Malaysia Sabah, para hadirin yang dihormati sekalian. Selamat datang ke Majlis Pelancaran Minggu Akademia Universiti Malaysia Sabah 2023. Izinkan saya membaca pantun, tapi sekiranya lenggok dia salah, maafkan saya ya. Emas tempawan buatmu putri, busana indah buat rupawan. Sudilah Tuan tampilkan diri bersama mada kata aluan. Dengan ini, majlis mempersilakan yang berusaha Dr. Dennis Andrew De Lajuim, Pengarah PPKA Universiti Malaysia Sabah, untuk menyampaikan ucapan alu-aluan. Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan.
Terima kasih pengacara majlis. Saya kasih pindah dulu minuman. Salam sejahtera, selamat pagi. Salam Malaysia Madani. Jadi pada hari ini saya bersyukur kepada pencipta alam ini kerana kita dapat bersama-sama pada pagi ini sempena Majlis Pelancaran Minggu Akademia UMS 2023 yang bertemakan Akademia untuk Kemampanan Pendidikan Tinggi. Kadang-kadang macam mau tersebut kemampuan. Semalam saya kacau saya punya staf, kenapa kamu tersalah ejaan kemampanan itu. Okey. Jadi saya mewakili pihak PPKA ingin mengucapkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan lah dan terima kasih kepada yang berusaha Profesor Dr. Syaril Yusuf TNCA UMS kerana sudi meluangkan masa bukan sahaja ke majlis perasmian ini tetapi juga telah bersama-sama kita pada pagi tadi dalam menyampaikan idea dan juga pandangan beliau berkenaan dengan peranan akademia dan juga kemampanan pendidikan tinggi, terutamanya di UMS. Dan seterusnya akan merasmikan Pelancaran Minggu Akademia UMS 2023. Saya juga ingin mengucapkan tahniah dan juga terima kasih kepada semua pihak yang terlibat dalam memastikan Minggu Akademia UMS ini dapat direalisasikan, terutama sekali kepada staf dan juga semua tenaga di PPKA. Kami ini tolak set 10 orang kami di sana. Kalau angkat meja, kursi itu pun pengarah pun termasuk mengangkat meja juga itu. Jadi terima kasih sekali lagi kepada komitmen dan juga keikhlasan daripada staf PPKA dalam memastikan Minggu Akademia ini dapat dilaksanakan. Dan juga tidak dilupai pihak-pihak yang terlibat secara langsung juga, yaitu daripada JTMK karena telah memberikan kepakaran ataupun bantuan teknikal yang akan berlangsung ini bukan sahaja pada hari ini tetapi akan membantu kami dari segi pelaksanaan aktiviti-aktiviti yang terlibat dalam Minggu Akademia ini. Yang berusaha Prof TNC dan juga prof-prof, hadirin dan hadirat yang dihormati sekalian. Minggu Akademia UMS 2023 merupakan julung kali dianjurkan di peringkat UMS. Seiring dengan pengisytiharan Hari Akademia Malaysia pada 5 Oktober sejak tahun 2019 oleh pihak Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi dengan tema pada tahun ini Akademia Pemacu Malaysia Madani. Selaras dengan tema Hari Akademia Peringkat Kebangsaan, maka tema Minggu Akademia UMS 2023 adalah Akademia untuk Kemampanan Pendidikan Tinggi. Penganjuran Minggu Akademia Peringkat UMS ini tidak lain tidak bukan adalah untuk memanifestasikan penghargaan universiti kepada ahli akademik universiti ini, di mana tidak lupa ataupun tidak kenal penat lelah dalam memberikan pendidikan yang berkualiti kepada anak bangsa, terutamanya daripada negeri Sabah. Sejak tahun 2020, PPK telah menganjurkan anugerah kecemerlangan inovasi pengajaran dan pembelajaran, pendeknya AKIP, yang bertujuan untuk menggalakkan pembudayaan inovasi pengajaran dan pembelajaran dalam kalangan pensyarah serta sebagai platform bagi penyertaan ke anugerah reka bentuk kurikulum dan penyampaian inovatif AKRI dan juga anugerah akademik negara AAN di peringkat kebangsaan. Pada mulanya AKIP ni kami cuba buat dia punya pernyataan macam mau tidak mau saja, main paksa-paksa sudah. Untuk tahun ni kami yang terpaksa menapis pernyataan-pernyataan itu sebab dia semakin menjadi budaya dan lebih ramai yang ingin mengikuti AKIP ini. Sebab macam senang memenang dong bilang. Ada satu orang menang tu sampai 2-3 anugerahan. Okey, jadi kami mau minta sikit-sikit pun tidak dapat. Orang yang ambil itu apa hadiah tersebut. Jadi saya harap ini akan berterusan lah untuk AKIP ataupun sebarang anugerah yang dipertandingkan oleh bukan sahaja di pihak PPK tetapi daripada organisasi yang lain. Selain itu, pihak PPK juga telah menganjurkan seminars on innovation in teaching and learning SIL pada tahun 2022 tahun lepas yang juga bersempurnakan penganjuran AKIP. Dan ini kita teruskan lagi untuk tahun ini. Dan fokus seminar ini adalah berkisar kepada isu dan perubahan reka bentuk kurikulum, pengurusan kualiti pendidikan, penilaian alternatif dan apa yang berkaitan dengan penyampaian dan juga pengajaran dalam pendidikan tinggi. Objektif utama Minggu Akademia UMS 2023 ini adalah tertumpu kepada penghargaan jasa keilmuan dan juga pemikiran kehadapan para akademik UMS, dan melalui penganjuran Minggu Akademia ini pembudayaan kecemerlangan pensyarah dipupuk melalui pelbagai aktiviti yang dilaksanakan sepanjang minggu ini seperti forum akademia, webinar kecemerlangan akademia, anugerah kecemerlangan inovasi pengajaran dan pembelajaran AKIP, dan juga seminar innovation in teaching and learning SIL. Aktiviti yang direncanakan sepanjang Minggu Akademia UMS 2023 ini diharapkan dapat membakar lagi semangat akademia para ahli akademik, bukan bakar kasih jadi hangus lah, supaya dia lebih membara, lebih bersemangat ke arah mencapai kecemerlangan yang kita harapkan dan akan terus berkembang dan juga mengelah di peringkat kebangsaan dan juga di pelosok dunia. Yang berusaha Prof, TNC dan juga Prof dan hadirin yang saya hormati sekalian, Minggu Akademia UMS ini merupakan satu platform yang penting bagi ahli akademik UMS, khasnya dalam memperolehi dan berkongsi pengalaman serta mendapatkan inspirasi dalam pembangunan kerjaya dan juga kepakaran ahli akademik, di mana faktor kemampanan pendidikan tinggi sendiri adalah pembangunan amalan akademia yang berterusan dalam kalangan akademik sesebuah institusi pendidikan tinggi itu sendiri. Dan selain itu, penganjuran ini merupakan satu penghargaan kepada setiap perjuangan dan juga pengorbanan warga akademik UMS yang tanpa mengira penat lelah mendidik dan mencorakkan sahsia unggul pelajar dengan adab dan ilmu yang unggul. Saya selaku penasihat dan juga mewakili seluruh jatuan kuasa pelaksana Minggu Akademia UMS 2023 ingin memanjatkan doa kepada Tuhan agar Minggu Akademia ini dapat memberikan manfaat kepada semua, khususnya para akademik yang dapat diterjemahkan kepada kecemerlangan pelajar kita yang merupakan generasi penerus mengikut acuan semasa dalam keberlangsungan kemajuan dari segi ilmu dan sahsia. Akhir kata, sekali lagi saya ingin merakamkan ucapan Selamat Hari Akademia 2023 buat warga akademik UMS khususnya, dan bagi ahli akademik UMS, teruskan usaha murni anda dalam memberikan perkhidmatan ilmu dan juga wisdom itu bagi pembangunan universiti dan juga generasi kita, yaitu pelajar, which is our future lah. Sekian, terima kasih. Salam sejahtera. Thank you. Itu sahaja.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Dr. Dennis atas ucapan alu-aluan yang disampaikan sebentar tadi. Dengan ini, Majlis mempersilahkan yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Syaril bin Yusuf, Timbalan Naib Chancellor Akademik dan Antarabangsa, mewakili Naib Chancellor Universiti Malaysia Sabah untuk menyampaikan ucapan, seterusnya merasmikan Majlis Pelancaran Minggu Akademia UMS 2023. Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan.
Terima kasih saudari pengurus majlis yang berusaha, Dr. Dennis Najum, pengarah PPKA, Prof. Awang Asri, pengarah CQA, Prof. Zainal, CQA Zainal, Prof. Zainal, CDO, dekan-dekan yang hadir, Prof. Vincent, tetamu yang kita bawa jauh dari PPM, Prof. Wan, thank you for coming. Dan terlebih dahulu saya sampaikan salam yang berbahagia Datuk WC kita, because tidak dapat hadir pada saat-saat terakhir kerana ada attend some important issues, dan dia sampaikan salam kepada semua. Terlebih dahulu saya ingin mengucapkan tahniah kepada PPKA dan staf dia, walaupun 10 orang berjaya menganjurkan julung kalinya Minggu Akademia di UMS. Walaupun Minggu Akademia ni bermula pada 2019 kalau tidak silap saya, tapi mungkin sebab faktor COVID dan sebagainya tidak dapat dilaksanakan. Namun kali ini kita dapat laksanakan, dan they always say that it start with the first step. So at least today is the first step. Maybe in the future we can plan for much improved pengisian untuk akademik ni. Mungkin di kalangan kita ahli akademik dalam bilik ni rasakan this is something any other days. No, if you have that kind of feeling, you have that kind of thought, you are wrong. In the first place, you should ask ourselves why we establish university. Who our main stakeholder is our student, to educate people, to educate our younger generation, and we are the academician to run that. And as I said just now, it involved in the curriculum, which is the heart of the institution. We are not other agencies, government agencies. We are academic institution, and with special role, and we academicians should appreciate this. Ini seolah-olah hari akademia ni adalah hari jantung untuk IPT. In medical, there's two death, brain death or cardiac death. That's how important is our jantung. Academic is the heart of this institution. Research, to some extent, maybe the lung or maybe the kidney, not the kidney. The academic is the heart of the institution. So we should appreciate it. Should aware that Hari Akademia ni adalah hari yang penting bagi semua academician for us to celebrate. Memang ada hari guru, tapi hari guru ni more general to other and more celebrated by the school, not at the higher institution level. So you listen to me the last 1 hour. I don't want to waste your time here listening to me again. All right? But I hope that all of us from now on work together, understand each other for the betterment of this institution. I know there's so many things in our life that it doesn't really follow what we need and so on. Salaries and so on. But I wish everybody here to be ikhlas dalam kerja. Setidak-tidaknya kalau tidak kita dapat balasan di dunia, kita dapat balasan di akhirat. I sounds like Ustaz Azhar Idrus now. Maybe since I keep my janggut, maybe. But I believe that everything we do dengan ikhlas, dengan baik, insyaAllah kita dapat balasannya. Kalau tidak di dunia ni, mungkin di akhirat. Where are we now in life cycle? I always say this to faculty that I visited. If you watch the Asian game or the Olympic game track event, you notice that the sprinter will warm up the 5 meters before the starting block, tapping their thigh, adjusting their shorts, and so on. That's where are we now? The starting point, when you on the starting block, there is when the worst, when you're going to die. When the starter pull the gun, boom, that's when we die. Compared to the 5 meters before you start on the starting block, that's what we are. And 100 meters, which is much longer, is where we end up much longer after we die. So what we do now is actually, as academicians, we need to prepare ourselves as well to work harmony with other colleagues to build up this institution, taking care of the curriculum, deliver it nicely, and that's what our role is. So I wish that we work together. Not, I won't be at the NCA in, I'm going to retire soon also in Province. Okay. Anybody become the NCA or anything, we work together. We understand that this institution is an academic institution. We are not Jabatan Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri. We are not Jabatan Custom, or we are not Jabatan Kebajikan one. We are university. These are the core of IUD. The academician must take care the importance of colleagues. So, like it or not, some of you will become holding administrative posts. You have to support the academician. Konsep dia permudahkan. Sometimes we like to make rules as administrator, garis panduan. Be careful. It can be backfire to our fellow academician. We should facilitate, make it easy. That's how my duty as a leader in the academic part and make it easy for everybody in every aspect. I'm trying to make it easy for all you guys. So, that's all folks. Dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, saya merasmikan Minggu Pelancaran Minggu Akademia Universiti Malaysia Sabah 2023. Now, ada jamuan untuk diorang?
Ada, tapi sebelum jamuan, kita ada 2 lagi pengisian, Prof.
Apa
Tapi
dia?
saya minta Prof terus berada di tengah pentas untuk kita teruskan dengan simbolik perasmian. Ya. Dan dengan ini saya menjemput Prof. Dr. Dennis dan ketua-ketua jabatan yang hadir untuk bersama di atas pentas bagi simbolik perasmian Majlis Pelancaran Minggu Akademia UMS 2023. Sebab Dr. Dennis dia ni Mr. Romantik, jadi simbolik perasmian dia pun romantik sikit. Dr. Dennis bagi surprise. Jadi dia bilang kali ini kita macam yang dulu-dulu tu kan. Jadi kita bersama dengan kek ini nanti akan dikongsikan bersama masa jamuan makan tengah hari nanti. Kek dia sedap, kek kegemaran Dr. Dennis. Kek coklat, coklat moist kot. Okey, dengan ini saya mempersilakan yang berbahagia Prof bersama dengan ketua-ketua jabatan yang lain bersama memotong kek sebagai simbolik perasmian Minggu Akademia UMS. Baiklah. Selalunya kalau acara dulu-dulu dia bilang suap-suap, tapi ini janganlah kan. Okey, terima kasih diucapkan kepada para hadirin. Baiklah. Okey, macam dia mau cek juga lah boleh makan ke tidak, dia bilang si Prof. Okey, dorang test dulu lah, kamu tengok dulu, tapi nanti masa jamuan kita akan merasa kek ini. Baiklah, kita kembali semula ke tempat duduk. Untuk saya bagi peluang kepada urus setia mengemaskan dulu kek itu, jangan jatuh. Okey, baiklah. Seterusnya kita akan masuk ke dalam penyampaian sijil penghargaan dan cenderahati. Sebab pada pagi tadi kita bersama di sini bagi forum Akademia Sustaining the Future of Higher Education. Dengan ini saya menjemput semula, Prof. Dr. Syaril bersama dengan pengarah Dr. Dennis di hadapan untuk dia self-sufficient. Okey. Nasib dia tidak jadi MC sini. Okay, Prof. Okay. New apa?
Okay, the reason I do this because I just want to change the culture.
Santai sikit ya, Prof.
No, sometimes we are too bogged down with the ceremonial protocol and so on.
Yeah.
You know, you go to overseas also, when you go conference, people wear sports shoes, shorts to attend. And to some extent, the culture needs to change. That's what the impact of culture I mentioned just now. We need to cut down on the ceremonial part, which is sometimes wasting our money as well. Thank you.
Okay. Alright, mungkin itu ada anjakan paradigma sedikit, tapi kita serahkan itu kepada Timbalan NAP Chancellor Akademi Antarabangsa ya. Okey, seterusnya dengan ini majlis menjemput moderator Prof. Dr. Vincent Pang bagi menerima sijil penghargaan dan cenderahati daripada baiklah. Dan Seterusnya, Majlis mempersilakan Profesor Madya Dr. Wan Zuhaini Saad daripada Industri Putra Malaysia yang berada bersama dengan kita sepanjang forum tadi. Ya, okey. Terima kasih. Dan yang terakhir sekali, dia bilang dia suruh lambung, tapi janganlah kan. Baiklah, kita serahkan kepada Prof. Dr. Syaril bin Yusuf juga bersama dengan kita di forum sebentar tadi. Baiklah, kita sudah sampai ke penghujung majlis. Sebab kena cut, sampai sudah. Tapi sebelum kita tutup majlis ini, saya sebenarnya ingin berkongsi. Saya tahu mungkin ada para hadirin sini ada sudah melihat di announcement apakah aktiviti yang diadakan sepanjang Minggu Akademia UMS 2023. Mungkin sekiranya kalau ada yang boleh dipaparkan, kita paparkan dulu di WT, sabar. Nanti kita share cake coklat tu ya. Kejap ya. Sabar dalam Prof. Syaril. Saya signal dulu Prof. Syaril, sabar Prof. Okey, ada yang boleh dikongsi WT tadi? Secara ringkasnya, hari ini bermula forum dengan juga Majlis Pelancaran. Dan pada keesokan harinya, ada webinar, itu tajuk AI dan Akademia. Ini ada special sikit sebab zaman sekarang sudah berubah. Saya rasa mungkin pelajar pun bilang tidak susah, sudah kami buat assignment. Okey, itu yang saya dengar-dengar lah, tidak pasti betul ke tidak. Tertakluk kepada para akademik yang tentukan sebenarnya. You have the leverage to it lah, kan? Orang bilang itu perkembangan digital ni sangat maju, tapi it still come back to the academician. Ya, saya rasa itu kita kena bagi credit to you all. Berikan tepukan kepada diri anda, cabaran yang bakal anda hadapi. Okey, seterusnya AI. Tapi boleh juga sebab we still need the human interaction. Jadi kita tahu dia tipu atau betul. Okey, seterusnya pada 9 dan 10 Oktober minggu hadapan, ini ambil peluang, mana tahu ada kamu yang masih tidak faham kan, ada mungkin ketua program yang masih baru, TD yang masih baru, Hari Bertemu Pelanggan PPKA yang juga melibatkan warga daripada CQA dan juga PEP. Tahu kan PEP apa? Dorang tu yang kasih share tu yang AI itu. Mana PEP punya orang? Ponsalmi ada di sini, tidaklah. I'm just kidding. Okay, mereka akan ada selama 2 hari. Ambil peluang ini untuk bertemu mereka, bagi mereka yang baru dilantik ataupun yang mau refresh balik. Sila berjumpa dengan mereka ya. Seterusnya ada webinar juga pada kedua hari tersebut. 11 Oktober, Seminar on Innovative Learning and Teaching 2023. 12 Oktober. Ini yang orang bilang dinanti-nanti, dia bilang si Dr. Dennis, habis dia macam rasa tercabar lah. Sebab orang bilang, mari kita berlumba-lumba dapatkan akib. Macam sinang je. Dia punya kriteria. Jadi Dr. Dennis, mau ubah lah itu. Mau guna AI juga kali itu mau bagi itu soalan. Tak apa. Okey. Anugerah Kecemerlangan dan Inovasi Pengajaran Pembelajaran Akib 2023. Malam dia ada majlis penutupan Minggu Akademia pada 12 Oktober dan juga penyampaian bagi Anugerah Kecemerlangan dan Inovasi Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran. Selain daripada ini, selain daripada yang semua akademik, okey, stres kepala di atas, ada satu sesi lagi nih. Hari Jumaat esok ada sesi riada. Tapi saya tidak tahulah siapa dia punya PT yang kena panggil nih. Boleh tahukah urus setia siapakah PT-nya? Okey, kamu dijemput bersama, nanti mereka akan war-warkan di mana tempat ya Puan Zu? Okey, di laman CANSELORI. Kalau yang dari jauh tu bolehlah daripada naik kereta kan kita jalan kaki. Kita kasih sehat jantung kita. Minggu depan mau berjumpa student nih yang saya rasa level dia ada hijau, kuning, merah. Sudah kan? Mana yang lama, mana student yang baru. Okey, jadi kita harus, orang bilang selain daripada minda yang sehat, badan pun sehat. Walaupun comel, walaupun kita ni banyak-banyak yang comel, saya rasa badan yang sehat tu penting. Kan Prof. Syaril? Betul tidak? Yes, kita kena balance sebab takut stres. Stres bikin mati tau. Dia bilang lah. But I know, you know better. Okay, baiklah. Kita sudah sampai ke penghujung. Tapi saya akan repeat yang satu sebab saya akan hulur sini tadi. Jangan lupa isi itu kepuasan pelanggannya. Kita bantu PPKA sama-sama. Untuk tujuan kepuasan pelanggan adalah untuk mereka improve dorang punya service kepada kita. Kalau kamu tidak bagi input, manalah, itulah juga. Ya, kita bantu sesama kita. Alright? Oleh kerana dia bilang jangan terlampau protokol. Dah lah. Macam mana pun kita tetap juga nyanyi kita punya lagu Bertekad Cemerlang. Selepas itu jangan dulu lari. Lepas lagu Bertekad Cemerlang, kita akan ambil sesi bergambar. Okey? Sebagai bukti, bos saya ada hadir bilang. Baiklah, kita sama-sama menyanyikan lagu Bertekad Cemerlang, hadirin di pohon berdiri. Baiklah, kita teruskan untuk sesi bergambar. Kita jemput juru gambar profesional kita.